the Deputy Director of Communications at the City of Joburg, joins me now to talk about this issue further. Nthatisi, welcome to Morning News today. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Where are we now with this? We know that they now want to take legal action. What's happening at the moment?
Now, what is happening as a city, we've started a process of verification. Because what has happened, just to give a short background, is that we had a lot of engagements with the leadership. And one of the things that they raised with us is that they themselves, they're not organized. They're not sure who is eligible to be on the streets. And if one raises that concern, there are death threats and other issues. So we took it upon ourselves to say, we'll work with you. Let's verify. Come and bring your people that you know are registered in your organization so that we can verify and make sure that only the people that are supposed to be on the street are placed in those stands, so that we avoid the previous congestion. Because what used to happen is that a trader would be here and then somebody would come and put their table next to them and they can't say anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had informal traders in the city centre for decades.
Yes.
What led to this process starting now? Why now? Was there a particular incident?
Let me explain a little bit of a background. This is not about a crackdown on informal trading per se. There's a project that we're running, because you remember during the GDS consultation process, people were saying, your city is dead. What are you doing? And the city is responding and saying we have a program called Clean Sweep, where we're looking at a number of issues: illegal dumping, illegal littering, people that are extending buildings illegally, people that are trading illegally, formal trading places. And in the process, a lot of people have been impacted. Formal businesses, because some of the formal businesses, they create themselves into formal and informal. They take things and put it on the street.
Okay.
Then what you do, you're reducing the space for people to use the public spaces in terms of movement. And we're saying, having engaged and having looked at different options, we're saying, if we create spaces that are usable, surely there has to be spin-offs for the same informal traders. Because if I'm not scared to walk in there to be marked, I would walk out of my office and go and buy a banana or buy an apple. But if it's too congested and people are complaining about crime and other issues, it also allows, it perpetuates to other illegal trades. Trades of drugs, trades of pirated goods, and all those things. So we're working with them. We're saying, let's work together. The sooner we come together and expedite to get these things sorted out so that the spaces are clean, then the sooner, by the end of the week, we should be seeing traders being placed.
Who would qualify? What criteria are you looking at to see who would be the guys who would be allowed to trade on the pavements? Yes,
there's a criterion that we used via the MTC, where we're saying people have to have the legitimate smart cards. People that were trading, as you said, trading has been happening in the city. People had been given smart card, and what they do, they pay a monthly rental. So what has happened over the years, I don't know whether it's issues of corruption or whatever, where people would duplicate some of those. So we're checking the authenticity of those. We're checking if people are in this country legally in the first place. That's why we're working with Home Affairs, so that we're able to say, in a transparent way, where everybody is watching, these people will be trading in such and such a date.
But like we hear now, the informal traders are not taking this lying down. They're now going to the courts, or they want to go to the courts?
I think the issue of the courts, just for the viewers to understand, it was perpetuated by a number of issues. When we started the process of verifying yesterday, some of the people were illegal immigrants, and they were detained in our offices because we had police, we had Home Affairs, so the lady that appeared there as an attorney was called by one of the headlines, who was detained because the person is in the country illegally in the first place. And if there's an issue of taking counsel to court, the counsel will put its case in front of the court, and the court will have to assess the validity of the issues.
Is there not a fear, though, that those that you are taking their livelihood away, whose livelihood you are taking away, may turn to crime afterwards, and then this will lead to a further problem?
we are equally worried about the issue of livelihood, because from the city's side, we see informal trading as a very important element in terms of job security and livelihood. And we want to work with speed to make sure that the lost time is averted, and when we get people back to their normal work. But we think and we're hopeful that once me and you can feel comfortable to walk in a street in Johannesburg, we will be able to support. And that might lead to actually better spin-offs instead of what is happening currently.
Right, Nthatisi, very quickly for us, when is this entire process expected to be completed? You started verification yesterday.
Yes.
When will you be done?
We started with about 7 streets in the inner city of Johannesburg, and we're hoping to finish those streets by Friday, so that we place those people, and then we identify other, because identification we do with the leadership. We just don't wake up and say, here you can trade. But it must be noted that in terms of the bylaws, other pavements in the streets are too narrow to be able to even consider trading. And we're saying those areas, those areas are prohibited, and there will be areas that will be identified to look at the surplus in terms of if the numbers are too higher than what we have. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. That was City of Joburg's Deputy Director of Communications, Nthatisi Modingoane.
News that moves. eNCA.com.